Picture a marathon, perfect asphalt, water stations every mile, medics on standby, everything controlled and safe. Now erase that image completely. Because the marathon of the 1904 St. Louis Olympic Games wasn't just disorganized, it was absolute chaos. Heat, dust, poison, cars on the course, runners collapsing, hallucinating, eating fruit from bystanders, getting chased by dogs, and a man who crossed the finish line after riding in a car for most of the race. Historians still call it the most dangerous Olympic event ever held, and it's hard to argue with that. It began on one of the hottest August days in Missouri. Organizers decided that the marathon should start at noon, the worst possible hour. The temperature climbed past 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and the air felt like it was standing still. 32 runners gathered at the starting line, professionals, amateurs, people who had trained for years, and others who barely understood what they were getting into. Nobody knew that the next few hours would become a historic disaster. The route was one of the biggest problems. Instead of paved roads, athletes ran on dusty dirt paths. Spectators and officials followed them in cars and horse-drawn wagons, kicking up thick clouds of dust. The runners had to breathe this mixture of dirt and exhaust for miles. Some could barely see the path ahead through the haze. Their mouths dried instantly, their throats burned, and their eyes stung. And water? There were only 2 water stations on the entire course. Organizers wanted to observe the effects of dehydration. Imagine trying to run 26 miles in extreme heat, with almost nothing to drink. The cast of runners was just as unbelievable as the course itself. 2 South Africans, Len Tonyen and Jan Mashiani, had not even come to the United States as athletes. They were performers in an anthropological exhibit at the World's Fair. Someone simply suggested they try the marathon, and they agreed. One ran barefoot. Another unusual figure was Felix Carvajal, a Cuban mailman who spent years saving money for the Olympics, only to lose it all gambling on the way. He arrived at the start in heavy dress pants and work shoes, cutting the pants with a pocket knife to turn them into makeshift shorts. When the race started, the brutality of the course became clear within minutes. The heat, dust, and lack of water began breaking runners one by one. Some collapsed from cramps. Others vomited on the roadside. A few wandered off the course entirely, disoriented by exhaustion. But the strangest stories were only beginning. American runner Fred Lohr started well but quickly overheated. After 9 miles he gave up, got into a car, and rode for almost 10 miles. When the car broke down, he got out, feeling refreshed, and jogged the rest of the way back to the stadium. The crowd saw him enter first and erupted in celebration. He smiled, waved, and even accepted congratulations from the daughter of the US president. But before officials could award the gold medal, someone shouted that Lohr had been seen riding in a car. The stadium turned on him instantly. He claimed it was a joke, but nobody believed him, and he was disqualified on the spot. While Lohr was being booed off the field, the real drama was unfolding miles behind him. Thomas Hicks, a British-born American runner, was suffering badly. His trainers refused to let him drink water, giving him instead a mixture of egg whites and small doses of strychnine, a poison that can act as a stimulant in tiny amounts. As Hicks grew weaker, they rubbed his mouth with brandy. His legs shook uncontrollably, and he stumbled forward like a puppet being dragged by invisible strings. Eventually he couldn't move on his own at all. 2 trainers held him up by his arms, his feet barely touching the ground, but the rules didn't forbid this. Spectators watched in horror as Hicks staggered onto the track, his face gray, his eyes glazed. He somehow crossed the finish line first, technically on his own power, even though he was half-carried. Moments later he collapsed, and doctors said he was close to death. If he had been given even slightly more strychnine, he likely wouldn't have survived. Yet he was declared the official winner. Meanwhile, Felix Carvajal turned the marathon into something between an adventure and a comedy. He stopped to chat with spectators, borrowed peaches from them, found an apple orchard, ate several unripe apples, and got such stomach cramps that he lay down under a tree and took a nap. After 20 minutes he woke up, stretched, and continued running, eventually finishing fourth. His cheerful attitude became one of the few bright moments of the race. Len Tonyan, running barefoot, was doing remarkably well until a stray dog began chasing him. He ran off the course trying to escape it, losing several minutes. Even so, he still finished among the top competitors, and many historians believe he might have won the marathon if not for that dog. By the time the race ended, only 14 of the 32 runners reached the finish line. The rest collapsed, quit, or had to be carried away. The 1904 marathon shocked Olympic officials so deeply that it led to major rule changes in future games, especially regarding hydration, medical supervision, and course safety. To this day, the 1904 Olympic marathon remains one of the most unbelievable sports stories ever told, a race where the official winner was nearly dying, the false winner rode in a car, runners ate fruit, slept on the roadside, got lost, and ran from dogs. It was a marathon that seemed cursed from the start, yet it became a legendary chapter of Olympic history.